The shocking political earthquake from Dr. Fred Okengo Matiangi. Fred Matiangi has finally spoken concerning his 2027 presidential bid. I'll read for you that particular statement shortly. But I'm 100% sure that the former head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, is extremely disappointed with what Fred Matiangi has said. Let me give you the details in this particular analysis here. But of course, before we begin, in case you are listening to me and you haven't subscribed, just take only 1 second and subscribe to this channel. This is for you to receive the latest political updates from this channel and also the best political analysis. My name is Jason and you are listening to Jason Vibes Radio political channel. Thank you so much for your support. Let us first of all begin right from here. A few weeks ago, in one of my analyses here, I remember I said that if Fred Matiangi wants to be the president of the Republic of Kenya in the year 2027 general elections and to defeat William Ruto, apeleke William Ruto nyumbani asubuhi na mapema, there is only one thing that Fred Matiangi must do immediately, or rather urgently. Fred Matiangi must completely avoid the former head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, and the Jubilee Party. At all costs, Fred Matiangi should not associate with Uhuru or the Jubilee Party if he wants to be the president of Kenya. Yes, Uhuru Kenyatta is endorsing Fred Matiangi currently. And that is why Jeremiah Kioni, the Jubilee Party Secretary General, has been campaigning thoroughly for Fred Matiangi.
Fred Matiangi ndio alikuwa chairman wa subcommittee ya cabinet. Miaka 10 William Ruto akitangatanga. Sioni kama mmeelewa. Mnaelewa? Kwa hivyo tukisema mambo ya health, Matiangi anajua kwa sababu yeye ndiye alikuwa chairman wa kamiti yote. Tukisema mambo ya education, anaelewa kwa sababu alikuwa chairman ya kamiti ya he chaired the subcommittee. Kwa hivyo tukianza kusema mambo ya health, universal health care, ukisema hivyo anaelewa, anajua pahali walikuwa wamefikisha, alikuwa anajua pahali pesa ilikuwa inatoka, anajua ilikuwa iende wapi. Si mambo ya kuleta chicha. Na hiyo application ya chicha cost you 104 billion. Peke yake 104 billion. Mambo ya social protection programs mnayajua. Hii kazi kwa vijana tulikuja tukaambiwa you cannot subsidize nini, you cannot give subsidies na mambo mengi kama yale. Mnakumbuka hayo? Tulikuwa na kazi kwa vijana. Kazi mitaani, kazi kwa vijana. Mnaelewa ni kusema nini? Ilikuwa kusaidia watu, sio ati wafanye kazi kukata mitaro, lakini you work to get something from government so that your family, the household, has some money in the evening ya kununua chakula. As the economy is improving. Kwani kazi ya serikali ni nini? Si ati tu kujua economy needs to improve. We need the economy to improve to create employment for everybody.
The reason as to why Uhuru is endorsing Matiangi, it is because of their long political friendship. Fred Matiangi has been loyal to the former head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, since the Jubilee Party administration. But Uhuru Kenyatta wants Fred Matiangi to join his Jubilee Party first. Now, the reason as to why I'm saying that Fred Matiangi should stay away from Uhuru and the Jubilee Party Number one, it is because the Jubilee Party is dead. Jubilee Party is not a popular political party, even in the Mount Kenya region where Uhuru comes from. Jubilee Party collapsed. And as a matter of fact, the only reason as to why Uhuru wants Matiangi to join his Jubilee Party first, it is because Uhuru wants Matiangi to resuscitate the Jubilee Party ahead of the 2027 elections. So Fred Matiangi joining the Jubilee Party is already a political suicide. That is number one. Number two, I know that Uhuru has promised Fred Matiangi that he will make Fred Matiangi to be the president of Kenya in the 2027 elections. But let me ask you, if Uhuru Kenyatta himself failed terribly to deliver Raila Odinga's presidency in the previous 2022 elections, yet Uhuru was in power with all the government machinery, with the deep state, with the system, but he was humiliated by William Ruto, then of course, there is no way at all that Uhuru is going to make Fred Matiangi to be the president through the Jubilee Party. Yet Uhuru is currently out of power. That is not possible. So Fred Matiangi should not have any hopes that Uhuru will make him to be the president. That is not possible. And also, number three, Fred Matiangi being endorsed by the former head of state Uhuru Kenyatta. Fred Matiangi will be seen as a political puppet of Uhuru Kenyatta. I want you to know that Kenyans, majority of them, are totally fed up with Uhuru and the Jubilee Party. As a matter of fact, the problems that majority of Kenyans are currently going through, it is because of Uhuru Kenyatta. It began when Uhuru was still in power. So I don't really think if Kenyans are ready to be led by a political puppet of Uhuru Kenyatta, meaning Uhuru Kenyatta will be in charge of that particular government. Uhuru will be running that government behind the scenes, not Matiangi. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons as to why Kenyans rejected Raila Odinga in the previous elections, it is because Raila was seen as a political puppet of the former head of state Uhuru Kenyatta. And Kenyans were totally fed up with the Jubilee administration. So Matiangi should go straight to the ballot without associating with the former head of state Uhuru Kenyatta or the Jubilee Party. Now, it is like Fred Matiangi listened to my advice very keenly because of what Richard Onyonka has just delivered Fred Matiangi's statement concerning his 2027 presidential bid. And according to Richard Onyonka, Fred Matiangi has finally made it very clear that he does not want to be involved or to be endorsed by the former head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, or the Jubilee Party. But Fred Matiangi has promised to work with President William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga in the broad-based government. Let me read for you that statement. But of course, I think Fred Matiangi ameona dalili. Dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. The broad-based government between Ruto and Raila Odinga, if they work together, then there is no one who can remove William Ruto from power in 2027. The broad-based government will take the lead. This is the message. Onyonka said this: as Kenyans, we have made a conscious and a deliberate decision to rally behind Fred Okengo Matiangi as our presidential candidate. We will work with President William Ruto. Listen to this. We will work with William Ruto if he performs well between now and the year 2026. If President William Ruto does that, if William Ruto delivers, we will negotiate with William Ruto to work with Fred Matiangi. In politics, there are no permanent friends and there are no permanent enemies. So I cannot rule out the possibility of Fred Matiangi and President William Ruto working together ahead of the 2027 elections, despite their political fallout in the previous 2022 elections. But the question here is, do you think that Fred Matiangi is making the right decision? That is the biggest question. Is Matiangi making the right choice by joining William Ruto ahead of the 2027 election? Is Matiangi making the right choice joining the broad-based government? I want to know from you. Let me know your thoughts.